Tesla trims its workforce, the supercharging rate increase is dialed back, Elon gives us a feature tease on Twitter, and one very brave Canadian sleeps overnight in his Model 3 in freezing weather. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 488 for January 23rd, 2019. This show is sponsored by my supporter Richard. If you're in the market for a Model S, X, or 3, please consider using his referral code. Ask your sales representative to use code Richard174 or go direct to the web link ts.la/Richard174 for 6 months of free supercharging, or now 9 months if you make your order without having taken a test drive. But act fast, the referral program ends February 1st. We start today's show with news that was released over the weekend, and somehow I neglected to include in Monday's show. My thanks to @DesertRunner on Twitter for keeping me honest. Tesla announced via press release on the 18th that it would cut 7% of its workforce in an effort to curb costs and to get the company to a point where it could produce the base range Model 3 without taking a loss on the vehicle. This comes after a 9% staff reduction in June of 2018. What is surprising is the fact that there will have been a total reduction of force of 16% in the last 7 months, but Elon states in the email to employees that the company grew by 30% in 2018. This, to me, says that unlike last time, production workers will probably be affected by these cuts. It's no secret that when Model 3 was having production issues, the company threw humans at the problem to resolve the issue, and humans are expensive. I suspect that many of the processes having the issues that required human intervention have been improved and or automated, requiring fewer employees to make things happen on the Model 3 assembly line. From the letter, it would also seem that if you're a contractor or a temp, your days are also likely numbered, with Elon stating that the company would, quote, retain only the most critical temps and contractors, end quote. This is one of several belt-tightening moves that the company has made recently, including the end of the referral program, as well as a rate increase for supercharging. More on that one in a moment. Q1 will be interesting as they'll take a hit for all the severance they'll be paying out. Because of this, much like last year's Q2 and Q3, I suspect Q1 will likely be in the red, followed by a pretty nice Q2 where the company will realize the savings from the cost-cutting measures, which may possibly break new profit records. I would hope the company will be a little more judicious going forward with its workforce, though. These incidents are heartbreaking to hear, and frankly have occurred too close to each other. Hire what is necessary and sustainable, and evaluate the need to replace departing workers whenever a vacancy occurs, ostensibly preventing future layoffs from being necessary. Hopefully, this is the last we have to hear of layoffs at Tesla. My condolences and best wishes to those affected by the layoffs. So, back to that bit about the supercharging rate increase. Per Electrek, Tesla has informed them that the rate increase will be curtailed somewhat. The rate increase will see a 10% reduction per the article, bringing the average U.S. price per kilowatt hour down to 28 cents per kilowatt hour from the previous 31 cents after the rate increases. Norway saw a similar ratio of reduction, down to 170 per kilowatt hour from 186 per kilowatt hour in local currency. I think this strikes a nice balance. The increase was rather shocking before, putting supercharging rates actually in competition with some third-party providers in some areas. This reduction increases revenue over the previous amount, while continuing to remain a better option compared to other charge networks. Of course, regardless of if the rate were kept, prices were still beating gasoline for the class of vehicles Tesla sells. The supercharging fee will be an interesting number to watch. In a somewhat counterintuitive thing to consider, the more cars that use the superchargers and are subject to the fees actually could bring the fees down for everyone once they begin to outnumber the cars on the road with free lifetime supercharging. As that ratio tips toward paying owners, the amount needed to be charged to those owners may be reduced with comparatively fewer vehicles enjoying the free supercharging benefit. And many folks out on the interwebs continue to miss the point that superchargers don't operate like gas stations. You don't need them day in and day out, since you charge in your garage at a much cheaper rate than you're going to find at any pay-per-use charging station. More EV education still to be done out there, folks. We mosey on over to Elon's Twitter account now, where we get some updates on a long thought-to-be coming feature, as well as a confirmed one. We'll start with that assumed feature where we saw unfortunate Twitter user @DMBFanMD lamenting a massive dent in his Model 3's door. Elon responded saying, quote, "Tesla Sentry mode coming soon for all cars with enhanced autopilot," end quote. I know I may be jumping to a bit of a conclusion, but I'd assume that this means that all cameras will be active on the car at all times for just such an occasion. But we're not quite done here. Twitter user @CabsandSurfaces nudged Elon on Twitter asking how Advanced Summon is progressing. Elon responded saying, quote, "Almost ready to roll out. Regulators just approved," end quote. I would assume that this only applies to the US at this moment, as historically features like this have rolled out in waves to the world at large. Looking forward to the big announcement and demonstration soon. I wonder if we might not get a taste of the announcement at the Model Y reveal expected in March. Maybe Elon will just summon a Model 3 to come grab him from the stage once the presentation's over. That would be a killer way to drop the mic. Let's see it happen. And then lastly for today's show, we take a look at the YouTube channel for Tesla Canuck, who decided that at temps of minus 17 Celsius, or 1 Fahrenheit, it would be a great time to go sleep overnight in his car just to see how feasible the act is. The answer was, surprisingly. While he had a bit of a false start in not setting the temp high enough for the first part of the experiment, after readjusting, our intrepid YouTuber had a comfortable remaining sleep, well, at least temperature-wise. The key that he notes is that the trunk was not really designed to be heated or cooled, and doing so requires a bit more oomph in the temperature department to make that happen. That's it for today's show. Before I go, let me take a moment to tell you about the show's newest sponsor, Foam Daddy. Foam Daddy is a nationwide company that sells and rents foam and snow machines. They're also proud to announce the arrival of the Real Snow Machine. This allows anyone to produce real snow in any temperature. Check them out at foamdaddy.com. My many thanks as well to our super patrons supporting the show at the $10 plus level at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. They are John Walthour, Drew Schuyler, John Waller, Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Bruno Kundici, Joey Boots, Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse, Adam Raymer Brown, Megawatt Photovoltaic Development, Todd Sullivan, Robert Healy, Mitch Long, Zortec LED Canada, Morvin Ogg, Blake Thompson, Raymond and Deborah Malkowitz, T Sportline, Michael Pastrone, Travis and Cheyenne Rush, Cookie UK, Chris Hovis, Craig Murphy, and Vicky Kirk. If you have any feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits and use the hashtag AskTeslaTidbits if you'd like your question to be considered for the show. I'll see everyone back here again on Friday. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.